Let me ask you something very honestly. How many dreams are you postponing because you are waiting for the right time? Because if waiting worked, most people would already be successful by now. Stay with me till the end, especially the last two lessons. They might completely change how you look at time, fear, and your own life. Many of us are living in pause mode. We are not failing. We are not succeeding either. We are just waiting. Waiting to feel confident. Waiting to be ready. Waiting for approval. Waiting for less fear. Waiting for the perfect moment. And slowly, without realizing it, life keeps moving. While we stand still, I've met so many talented people across the world. Brilliant minds, kind hearts, big dreams. But one common problem: they don't lack ability, they lack decision. So today, let's talk about something uncomfortable but liberating. Not waiting for the right time, but becoming the right time. Most people spend their entire lives searching for a moment that does not exist, like waiting for the ocean to become still before learning how to swim, not realizing that the very nature of life is movement, uncertainty, and imperfect waves. We tell ourselves stories to feel safe. When I'm more confident, I'll start. When the situation improves, I'll try. When the timing is right, I'll take the leap. But what we don't realize is that these thoughts are not wisdom. They are fear wearing the mask of patience. The idea of perfect timing is one of the most beautifully disguised illusions of the human mind. It sounds mature, responsible, and thoughtful, but deep inside, it quietly keeps us stuck. Life was never meant to be lived after all the answers arrive, because answers don't arrive first, experiences do. Think about a child learning to walk. The child does not wait for balance to become perfect or for confidence to arrive in advance. The child falls, stumbles, cries, stands again, and somehow learns what no book can teach, that growth comes from movement, not from waiting. In the same way, every meaningful chapter of life begins before we feel ready. The farmer does not wait for a guarantee of rain before planting seeds. He plants with faith, knowing that uncertainty is part of the agreement with life. And yet, as adults, we demand guarantees from existence, guarantees of success, approval, comfort, and safety before we offer our effort. That is not wisdom, that is mistrust. The truth is, the right time is a concept created by the mind to avoid the discomfort of the heart. Because the heart knows that stepping forward will demand courage, humility, and the possibility of failure. And failure frightens us not because it hurts, but because it exposes us. It forces us to confront the fragile idea we have built about who we are. So we wait. We wait like someone standing at a railway platform, watching trains pass by, convincing ourselves that the perfect train will arrive one day, not realizing that every train we ignore takes a part of our confidence with it. Time does not pause while we wait. It moves quietly, faithfully, and without emotion. And one day we look back and realize that what we called patience was actually hesitation, and what we called preparation was actually avoidance. The saddest part is that life rarely punishes us loudly for waiting. It simply offers fewer opportunities later, and we mistake that silence for safety. But understand this deeply. Clarity is not the reward for waiting. Clarity is the reward for action. Even the sun does not wait for permission to rise. It rises, and the world adjusts. In the same way, when you move with sincerity, life rearranges itself around your effort. You may not see the full path, but no one ever does. Even those you admire once walked with trembling legs and uncertain hearts. They didn't succeed because the time was right. The time became right because they moved. And if you're listening to this and thinking, but what if I fail? Let me gently tell you, Failure does not delay destiny, inaction does. Failure refines you, humbles you, teaches you, and prepares you in ways comfort never can. Waiting only teaches you how to wait more. If this insight is stirring something inside you, don't relax yet. The lessons ahead are even more profound, and if you stay until the final points, you may catch a glimpse of truth that can change everything. Because soon we will explore why waiting feels so safe, why fear convinces us to postpone our own lives, and how action, even imperfect action, awakens hidden strength. So don't listen passively. Ask yourself quietly, honestly, and without judgment, what dream have I postponed in the name of right time? And remember this, life does not begin when conditions are perfect. Life begins when courage becomes louder than comfort. Stay with me, because what comes next may reveal why the very moment you are in right now is not an obstacle, but an invitation. Waiting has a strange sweetness to it, almost like a soft chair placed just outside the battlefield of life, where you can sit and observe without bleeding, without risking loss, without being seen. It feels safe, familiar, and deceptively wise. When you wait, no one can accuse you of failing, because you never truly began. Waiting allows the ego to remain untouched, protected behind the comforting excuse of not yet. It is like standing at the edge of a river, watching the current, analyzing the depth, the speed, the temperature, telling yourself that one day you will cross. But as you stand there thinking, the river of time continues to flow, carrying your opportunities downstream. This is why waiting becomes a trap. It does not shout or threaten, it whispers. It tells you just a little more preparation, just one more sign, just a bit more confidence. And before you realize it, years pass, and the voice that once sounded cautious begins to sound hollow. The mind loves waiting because waiting removes responsibility. As long as you are waiting, you are not accountable for results. If nothing changes, you can say the situation wasn't right. If the dream fades, you can say it wasn't meant to be. But deep inside, the soul knows the truth. It was not destiny that stopped you. It was fear disguised as logic. Think about how we treat our own potential. We protect it like a fragile glass sculpture, hiding it in a cupboard so it won't break, not realizing that unused potential slowly turns into regret. Fear of judgment plays a powerful role here. We don't just fear failing, we fear being seen failing. We imagine the silent smiles, the unspoken comparisons, the imagined whispers of, "I told you so." And to avoid that discomfort, we choose a life of postponement, believing that safety lies in invisibility. But spiritual wisdom teaches us something radical. The soul does not grow in comfort, it grows in exposure. Just as muscles strengthen only when resistance is applied, inner strength emerges only when we step into uncertainty. Waiting feels peaceful on the surface, but underneath it quietly drains vitality. It dulls the fire of enthusiasm and replaces it with cautious routines. Slowly, we begin to confuse stillness with peace, not realizing that true peace comes from alignment, not avoidance. Alignment happens when what you feel inside matches what you do outside. When you wait too long, this alignment breaks and a subtle restlessness begins to haunt you, a quiet dissatisfaction that no amount of entertainment or distraction can silence. Many people mistake this restlessness for ambition or boredom, but it is actually the soul knocking, asking to be lived. Nature never waits the way we do. A seed buried in darkness does not hesitate out of fear of the unknown soil. It breaks open, even though breaking hurts. A bird does not wait to feel confident before flying. It jumps, and the wings learn in midair. Only humans demand certainty before movement, forgetting that certainty is not a prerequisite for growth. It is a byproduct of experience. And here is the most dangerous part of waiting. It slowly trains you to distrust yourself. Each time you postpone action, you send a silent message to your own heart. I don't believe in you yet. Over time, this erodes self-trust, making the next step even harder. Waiting promises comfort, but it charges interest in the form of self-doubt. If you are feeling this quietly inside, stay with me, because the lessons ahead are even more profound. In the final points, we will uncover how courage is built, not found, and how action, even when trembling, can heal this inner fracture. Don't drift away now, because what comes next may explain why the fear you're trying to avoid is actually the doorway you must walk through. Remember this, waiting is not neutral, it is a choice with consequences. And life does not ask whether you feel ready, it simply asks whether you are willing. Stay until the end, because there is a deeper truth unfolding, one that can transform waiting into wisdom and fear into fuel. Most people believe that clarity is a destination you must arrive at before you begin, like a map that appears fully drawn before the journey starts. But life works in the opposite direction. Clarity is revealed only to those who walk. Imagine standing in a dense fog at dawn, unable to see more than a few steps ahead. If you refuse to move until the entire path is visible, you will remain frozen. But the moment you take a step, the fog parts just enough to reveal the next one. This is how life teaches. It never overwhelms you with the whole picture, not because it wants to confuse you, but because it wants to build your trust. We often say, once I'm clear, I'll act. But the deeper truth is that action is what creates clarity. Even the greatest rivers did not know their destination when they began as small streams in the mountains. They flowed, turned, stumbled over rocks, lost their way, found it again, and in that movement, they became vast. When you wait for perfect understanding, you are asking life to give you certainty without participation. But wisdom does not descend upon stillness. It awakens through experience. Think of any meaningful relationship, any career path, any calling you admire. No one began with complete assurance. They began with a question, a restlessness, a pull they could not fully explain. The mind wants guarantees, but the soul asks for courage. And here lies the quiet miracle. When you act with sincerity, even confusion becomes guidance. Each step teaches you something, what resonates, what drains you, what aligns, what doesn't. But if you never step forward, life has nothing to teach you. Many people say they are finding themselves, but what they are really doing is waiting for a version of themselves to appear fully formed, not realizing that the self is not found, it is forged. You discover who you are not by thinking endlessly, but by engaging honestly with the world. A potter does not understand the clay by staring at it. The hands must get dirty, pressure must be applied, mistakes must happen, and through that process, shape emerges. In the same way, clarity is shaped by friction. Confusion is not a sign that you are lost, it is a sign that you are learning. But the mind fears confusion because it feels vulnerable there, stripped of control and certainty. So it convinces you to wait, just a little more planning, just a little more thinking, unaware that excessive thinking without action only deepens the fog. Spiritual wisdom reminds us that faith is not believing everything will go well. Faith is moving even when you don't know how it will go. When you act, something subtle happens inside you. Self-respect grows. You begin to trust your ability to respond, to adapt, to learn. And this trust is far more valuable than clarity, because clarity can change, but self-trust carries you through change. Life is not a straight road, it is a living conversation. You speak through action, and life replies through experience. But if you remain silent, waiting for answers, the conversation never begins. Even wrong turns have value. They teach discernment, humility, and resilience. Inaction teaches nothing except fear. If you're listening carefully, you may already feel a gentle stirring, a realization that the clarity you seek is not ahead of action, but hidden within it. Stay with me, because the lessons ahead are even more profound. And if you remain until the final points, you may glimpse a truth that can change everything you believe about fear, courage, and purpose. We are moving toward something deeper, understanding how fear transforms into strength and how responsibility awakens inner power. So don't drift away now. Ask yourself quietly, what am I waiting to be clear about, when in truth, life is waiting for me to begin? Remember this, the lamp does not light the entire path. It lights just enough for the next step. Walk, and the light will walk with you. Many people spend their lives waiting for fear to disappear before they move, not realizing that fear is not an enemy meant to be defeated, but a companion meant to be understood. Fear is like a shadow that grows longer when the sun is low. It feels enormous when your confidence is small, yet it has no substance of its own. The mistake we make is believing that courage means the absence of fear, when in reality, courage is born in the very presence of it. Even the bravest souls you admire have felt their hearts race, their palms sweat, and their minds question everything before stepping forward. The difference is not that they were fearless, but that they refused to let fear hold the steering wheel of their lives. Fear speaks in convincing language. It whispers of worst-case scenarios, imagined judgments, and painful failures. But fear has never been a reliable prophet. It predicts danger everywhere because its job is protection, not progress. Like an overcautious guard at the gate of your potential, fear means well, but it has no vision for your future. Spiritual wisdom teaches us that fear is the price of admission to growth. Every expansion of the soul requires you to pass through uncertainty, just as every birth requires labor. We often pray for strength, but life answers with situations that require us to become strong. Courage does not arrive fully formed. It is cultivated with each small, trembling step taken in the direction of purpose. Think of learning to swim. The water feels threatening until you enter it, and only then do you realize that your body knows how to float. In the same way, you discover your strength only after you step into the thing you are afraid of. Avoiding fear may feel safe, but it slowly shrinks your world. Each avoided challenge teaches fear that it is in control, and fear grows bolder with every retreat. But when you face fear, even imperfectly, something remarkable happens. Fear begins to lose its authority. It may not vanish, but it becomes quieter, more manageable, less intimidating. Courage grows not in grand heroic moments, but in ordinary decisions. Speaking up when your voice shakes, beginning when your plan is incomplete, trusting yourself when outcomes are uncertain. The spiritual path has always honored this truth. Transformation does not come from comfort, it comes from surrendering to the process of becoming. Fear will walk beside you, but it does not have to walk ahead of you. You can acknowledge fear without obeying it. You can listen to its concerns without letting it dictate your destiny. This is where inner freedom begins, not when fear is gone, but when you are no longer ruled by it. If this resonates with you, stay with me, because the lessons ahead are even more profound. In the final points, we will uncover how time responds to those who move, and how responsibility awakens hidden power within you. Don't drift away now, because what comes next reveals how fear, when faced with faith and action, becomes firm. You well instead of a barrier. Remember this deeply. Fear will always test you at the threshold of your next level. It asks, are you sure? Not to stop you, but to prepare you. Walk forward anyway, and you will realize that fear was never meant to block the path. It was meant to show you where growth begins. Time is often spoken of as if it were a neutral observer, patiently waiting for us to make up our minds, but in truth, time is an active force, quietly responding to movement and silently passing by hesitation. Time is like a river that rewards those who step into its flow and gently forgets those who stand forever on the shore. It does not punish you for waiting. It simply does not bend for you either. Many people believe that time will someday favor them if they wait long enough, but time has never favored waiting. It has always favored willingness. When you move even imperfectly, time begins to cooperate. When you hesitate, time continues without you. Look closely at nature and you will see this sacred pattern everywhere. The sun rises whether the world is ready or not. Seasons change whether we feel prepared or not. Flowers bloom when it is their moment, not when conditions are guaranteed to be ideal. A seed that waits for perfect soil, perfect rain, and perfect safety will never sprout. Growth requires risk. Time honors those who accept this truth. Those who act early may stumble early, but they also learn early. Those who fail early adapt early. And those who move early develop wisdom, while others are still planning. Waiting, on the other hand, creates the illusion that you are protecting your future, when in reality, you are quietly postponing it. Time is deeply spiritual in this way. It does not argue, it does not persuade, it simply reflects your relationship with life. If you engage, it engages. If you hide, it moves on. Think of time as a teacher that only teaches those who show up to class. Lessons are not delivered in advance, they are revealed through participation. This is why people who begin before they feel ready often seem lucky. Their luck is simply the compound interest of effort. Every step they take, even the wrong ones, gives them information, resilience, and momentum. Momentum is something waiting can never generate. Momentum belongs to motion. When you act, time starts layering experience upon experience, insight upon insight, until suddenly what once felt impossible feels natural. But when you wait, time layers doubt upon doubt, hesitation upon hesitation, until even simple steps feel heavy. This is not because you are incapable, but because you have trained your nervous system to associate movement with danger instead of growth. Spiritually speaking, time is not linear, it is relational. It responds to intention expressed through action. The moment you choose responsibility over comfort, time seems to expand. You find energy you didn't know you had. Opportunities appear that were invisible before. People come into your life at the right moment. This is not coincidence, this is alignment. Time aligns with those who align with purpose. And understand this gently, time does not ask you to be perfect, it asks you to be present. Presence is demonstrated through action. Even small steps send a powerful message to existence. I am ready to learn. And life loves teaching the willing. Many people fear starting late, but starting late is still infinitely better than never starting at all. Time is generous to beginners who are sincere. What it does not reward is endless delay born out of fear. If you're listening closely, you may already sense a shift, a realization that time is not something to wait for, but something to walk with. Stay with me because the lessons ahead are even more profound. In the final points, we will uncover how small beginnings unlock great transformations and how responsibility turns ordinary moments into sacred ones. Don't drift away now, because what comes next may reveal why the very act you are postponing is the doorway to a different future. Remember this truth: time does not open doors for those who knock softly with excuses. It opens doors for those who push gently but consistently with faith. Move, and time will meet you halfway. Many people delay their dreams because they imagine that beginnings must be grand, dramatic, and perfectly planned, not realizing that life has always favored the humble start. Creation itself did not begin with thunder, it began with a subtle intention, a quiet "let there be," spoken into emptiness. In the same way, transformation rarely announces itself with noise. It enters softly, disguised as a small decision, an ordinary step, an almost insignificant action taken today. We often wait to feel powerful before we begin, but power is not the starting point, movement is. A mountain is not climbed in one heroic leap, it is climbed one steady step at a time, each step seemingly ordinary, yet together forming an extraordinary ascent. When you look at the mountain from below, the path feels overwhelming, but when you look only at the next step, the journey becomes possible. This is the spiritual wisdom hidden in small beginnings. They remove the intimidation of the whole and invite you into the simplicity of the now. Starting small is not a sign of weak ambition, it is a sign of deep understanding. It acknowledges that growth is organic, not mechanical. Think of how a candle is lit. A single spark is enough to push back darkness. You don't need to light the entire room at once. In the same way, one honest action, one phone call, one attempt, 1 hour of focused effort can begin to dissolve years of stagnation. The ego resists small starts because they don't feel impressive. They don't give instant validation or visible status. But the soul loves them because they are sustainable. Small actions build trust with yourself. Each time you show up, even in a minor way, you send a quiet message to your inner world: I am someone who keeps promises to myself. Over time, this self-trust becomes unshakable. Spiritually, consistency is more powerful than intensity. Intensity burns bright and fades quickly. Consistency shapes identity. Life changes not through occasional bursts of motivation, but through daily alignment. A river does not carve a canyon through force, but through patience and persistence. And here is the hidden blessing of starting small. It allows you to learn without being crushed by pressure. Mistakes become teachers instead of threats. Adjustments become natural instead of humiliating. When you begin small, you give yourself permission to grow. Waiting for a perfect, large beginning often masks a fear of being seen as a beginner. But everyone you admire once stood where you are, uncertain, inexperienced, and imperfect. They didn't become great by skipping the early steps. They became great by honoring them. Life does not ask you to impress it, it asks you to engage with sincerity. Small steps taken today carry a sacred quality because they are acts of faith. They say, I may not know the whole path, but I trust that the path will appear. If this resonates, stay with me, because the lessons ahead are even more profound. In the final point, we will uncover how responsibility transforms ordinary action into destiny, and why the moment you stop waiting is the moment life begins to respond differently. Don't drift away now. What comes next is the heart of the transformation. Remember this truth. Greatness is not built in moments of inspiration alone. It is built in quiet rooms, ordinary days, and small actions repeated with devotion. Start small, start now. The universe honors beginnings more than intentions. There comes a quiet yet powerful moment in every life when waiting exhausts itself and something deeper awakens. The moment you realize that no one is coming to rescue you, no perfect alignment of stars is about to descend, and no external permission slip will ever arrive. This is the sacred moment when responsibility reveals itself not as a burden, but as a blessing. Responsibility is the instant you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is life asking from me right now?" It is the moment you step out of the role of a passenger and place your hands on the steering wheel of your own existence. Many people fear responsibility because they associate it with pressure, blame, and heaviness, but spiritual wisdom tells a different story. Responsibility is the doorway to freedom. The moment you take responsibility, you reclaim your power. Until then, your power remains scattered among circumstances, people, timing, and luck. Think of responsibility like a flame hidden within you. As long as you blame the darkness, the flame stays dormant, but the moment you accept that lighting the lamp is your task, the room begins to glow. The right time is not a date on the calendar. It is a state of inner readiness where excuses fall away and honesty takes their place. This readiness does not come from confidence, it comes from ownership. When you own your choices, even fear begins to transform. Fear no longer paralyzes you, it sharpens you. Life begins to respond differently the moment you say, "This is mine to handle." Not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger. Responsibility anchors you in the present moment. It stops the endless negotiation with tomorrow. It says, "I may not control outcomes, but I will control effort, and effort is sacred." In spiritual traditions across the world, effort offered sincerely is considered an act of devotion. God does not ask for perfection, God asks for participation. Responsibility is participation with awareness. It is choosing action over excuses, learning over blaming, and growth over comfort. When you take responsibility, you stop outsourcing your happiness to future events. You realize that peace is not found when everything goes right, but when you stand upright within whatever comes. This is why responsibility feels heavy only at first. Like lifting weights, the initial strain is uncomfortable, but soon strength builds, posture improves, and what once felt impossible becomes natural. Responsibility aligns your inner world with your outer actions. There is no longer a gap between who you are and who you pretend to be. That alignment creates a deep, quiet confidence, not the loud confidence of ego, but the grounded confidence of self-respect. And here is the mystical secret for you to understand. When you take responsibility, you invite grace. Grace does not arrive for those who wait passively, it flows toward those who move sincerely. Doors open not because you deserve them, but because you are ready to walk through them. Even mistakes become meaningful under responsibility because you learn instead of collapse. You stop asking, "Why did this happen?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" That shift alone can change everything. If you feel this truth settling inside you, stay with me, because the lessons ahead are even more profound, and remaining until the final points may offer you a glimpse of truth that transforms not just what you do, but who you become. Don't drift away now, because this is the heart of the journey. Responsibility is the moment you stop waiting for the right time and realize you are the right time. The present moment, fully owned, fully accepted, and fully acted upon, is the only moment life has ever responded to. When you take responsibility, you stop living on pause. You step into authorship. And life, seeing your sincerity, begins to write back. And now, as we come to this still and sacred pause, let me leave you with a truth that is not meant to be memorized, but lived. Life is not happening to you. Life is happening through you. Every moment is a doorway. Every breath is an invitation. Every situation is a mirror, quietly asking you to awaken. You were never meant to sleep through your days, waiting for meaning to arrive from the outside. Meaning is revealed the moment you become conscious of how you think, how you choose, how you respond. When awareness enters your actions, even ordinary moments become sacred. When intention enters your effort, even small steps become destiny. And when presence enters your life, fear slowly loses its grip because you are no longer living in imagination, you are living in truth. Remember this, awakening is not about changing the world overnight. It is about seeing clearly today, living consciously now, choosing responsibility in this moment. So begin observing yourself today and see life unfold in ways you never imagined. Carry this awareness forward and let it touch others in silence and presence. Apply these insights now, because life waits for no one to awaken. Don't postpone consciousness. Don't delay growth. Don't wait for another sign. And remember, the final insights always hold the deepest keys. Do not miss them.